I think I got it figured out. I think I got it. You know how it always seems like your weekend is way too short? At least with mine, I think I have found out why. I have finally figured out the mystery of the universe. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app. Here's what I realized. I had this epiphany late Friday night, and I thought about it all 25 minutes of my free time over the course of the weekend. And then it hit me. When I left out of here Friday night, it was what time? 10:30-ish, okay? Who's going to do something that late on a Friday night? Probably not me. There are those times we try to go to the movies, but by and large, I'm not doing anything on a Friday night. So the first night of the weekend is done. I'm getting home maybe around 11:30, then maybe watch some TV, and I'm out like a light by 12:30, 1 o'clock. I get up at 7 in the morning, and then I teach 3 classes of Hapkido. So my Friday night is gone. I'm up Saturday early, and then I'm into Saturday afternoon. So honestly, my whole weekend has been relegated to one night. That's Saturday evening, maybe Saturday afternoon, and then Saturday night. That's it. Because Sunday, it's all about preparing for Monday. I have things I need to do for different outlets. I had to prepare for my Spectrum News hit this morning. So that's always done on Sunday. I have a syndicated audio commentary that I send out. I have to send that out on Sunday. So Sunday is pretty much a work day. Friday is a work day. Saturday, I have about 6 hours to play. So when I finally wake up on Monday, I realize the weekend really didn't exist. And I really can't complain because Twala has even less time than me. Okay, but I'm selfish like that. And Mark Ronner, good evening. You always told me it's always about me. So I want to lean into that.
Yeah.
To start off tonight. And I realized I don't have much of a weekend. I have a day. Just a day.
Well,
just
we all have stuff going on outside of work. But you do chronically overbook yourself. I think we need some counseling for you.
No. You are correct on that. There are things that I say yes to far too early, far too unnecessarily, where it would be easier to just say no. But at the time, I do mean yes. And then I realize when it comes around, no, I didn't.
I think you don't think you exist unless you're being seen somewhere on some sort of media.
No, that's really untrue.
No, I get it, because it's like when you say yes to a midnight screening, 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
But when it gets to it, you're like, oh, I'm going to a midnight screening.
Or like BBC will hit me earlier in the day, like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, saying, hey, can you do this commentary? Can you come on after your show? And at the time, yeah, I'm wide awake and everything. In the middle of my day, sure, why not? I can do it 10 hours from now. And then 10 hours will pass, and I've done a lot between that time and the time of the commentary, and I realized I should have said no.
Do you know how many things I've turned down because I just don't feel like being up at that hour of the morning? Like I turned down Howard Stern once because I didn't want to wake up early.
But I talk about this whenever I give my public speeches because I don't feel anyone can outwork me. I part of the reason why I've made some opportunities for myself over the years is, like BBC, no one wanted to do it at 2 or 3 in the morning LA time, which sometimes it is that late/early.
Mm-hmm.
And so since I was one of the few people who was willing to do it, they kept calling. And I felt obligated because they kept calling, so I kept doing it. And then after a certain point, you realize I don't want to do a political commentary or talk about what's going on in America at 2, 3 in the morning on a work night after I've already had a very long day. And then you realize maybe you're saying yes too often.
Time to get lazier. Follow my example.
Maybe there's some times where I've politely declined. There's some times that I will finally say no, but more times than not, I'm not going to say no because I'm greedy like that. And then I realize I'm spent come Monday. You know,
there's a cost to pardon me. There's a cost to everything, Mo.
You all right now?
Yeah.
I'll be okay.
I spiked his food. I'm trying to poison him. That's all. What are you eating anyhow?
I'm not eating anything. I just forgot to take an allergy pill today.
Oh, okay. My condolences. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to come in and sit next to you. You'll love it.
I appreciate that. We know that that's not going to happen because you hate people and you don't want anyone close to you.
Well, you busted me on that. Okay.
Coming up on the show tonight, since I said good evening to Mark Ronner, we have some good news and we have some bad news in the next segment, talking about what's going on in Pasadena, Altadena, and the kids. And when we have any type of of tragedy or any type of disaster, sometimes we forget about the long-term implications of what it means for kids in their education, kids in their socialization, how they're dealing with it on an emotional level. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Loma Alta Park, which is reopened, and the contamination of soil at Pasadena schools. So literally thousands of kids are going to be impacted. And at the bottom of the hour is sometimes the news is meant specifically for me in this show. We have to tell you about the man who was attacked by a coyote. I said a coyote, and used his bare hands to strangle it to death after he was attacked by a coyote. And then we have to tell you about the unfortunate story of a man who was murdered by bees, a bee attack. Same show, same segment. We get to talk about coyotes and bees. We need to kill them all.
Murdered by bees?
Murders.
Oh.
Wait a minute. How did it couldn't have been involuntary manslaughter by the bees? I mean, what are you talking about?
We don't know what the man was doing.
He was mowing a lawn.
Oh, that right there is actually self-defense then.
Were the bees in the grass?
The bees were obviously in the grass, buzzing around, getting pollen from flowers that are low to the ground.
No.
Here he comes. Bees are like, hey, man, we're trying to get some pollen. Wait. Just wait 1 second.
I don't think they had that.
Hey,
I don't think they had that verbal exchange.
Sir, just hold on. We have a little grouping here. We're going to be out of your way in just a minute. He was like, bees better move out my way.
I feel attacked.
Me and Mo Kelly.
I feel like I'm being mocked. I feel like I'm not getting any respect for the fact that I don't like bees. I have a phobia around bees.
I'm saying you're literally maligning these bees for being bees.
Stefan's over there playing bee sound effects and laughing, and Twala is undermining my whole story about men dying by bees. Did you know that people die in bee attacks to the tune of 72 per year? 72 per year.
What you mean is only 72.
Well, it could be worse.
I'm on the side of the bees.
Well, those 72, they had it coming.
Yeah.
Oh, what
they were asking for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what were they wearing?
This beehive is just too close to my house. I'm going to get it down. Oh, God, Jesus, no. And that was the end of that one.
Why is it the bees always get the benefit of the doubt? They're the ones who are killing people.
The bees are literally always minding their own business.
No, they're not.
Bees are never actually looking for a fight. They know if they sting, they die.
No.
They know that.
Why did they have stingers? They're obviously looking for a fight.
Purely for self-defense. And they can only use it once. You know what kind of commitment that is? I sting, I die. But this one right here, this one's swatting me for no reason. Oh, he's got it coming.
Yeah, Tuala's 100% correct on this one. You don't see bees doing home invasions. You don't see bees robbing 7-Elevens. You got to go out of your way to mess with bees. So if that's the case, you deserve whatever happens.
No, I'm not saying that people are better. I'm saying I want the bees dead. I'm not saying that the people are any better. Yes, we are evil. Yes, we are killers. Yes, we are murderers. But by the way, kill all the bees.
Well, I hate to break this to you, but since we're all connected, you know, the scientists all say once the bees go, we're not far behind.
I know it's going to destroy the ecology.
I mean, there's some middle ground of just not screwing with the bees so you don't have to get stung to death.
Or you can kill them all.
Then we die.
Well, okay. Sometimes you got to make hard choices.
Do you see how this is wrong? You see how wrong this is?
No, not at all. Not at all.
You're making
I think Ivan Drago was right. He was right. And before we finish out the hour, speed cameras are coming to LA. We told you about this last year. Well, they're just about here. They'll be here next year, but we have more information about what you'll have to do to avoid them, if you can avoid them, and some of the penalties attached. And tomorrow night, I told you last week, but I want you to remember tomorrow night, we're giving away Harry Potter and the Cursed Child tickets to the Hollywood Pantages Theater. We're giving away not one, not two, but 3 pairs of tickets to see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. That's going to be tomorrow night. And yes, you're going to have to watch the live video simulcast on YouTube. And speaking of which, we're live right now on YouTube. We're live right now on Instagram. And we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, we're going to talk about Loma Alta Park and the Pasadena schools.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Mr. Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, live on iHeartRadio app, and live on Instagram. Good news, bad news. We remember, or we should remember, back to the pandemic. One of the major discussion points was what was going to happen to children because their normal routine had been basically eradicated. They weren't going to school. They were not socializing. They were not enjoying those relationships that you and I had growing up dealing with other students. And I think that's very important. I think most parents would tell you, most teachers would tell you, when you have that disruption, it harms their learning and it harms their growth and maturation as kids. Something similar, I would say, happened in the wake of the fires here in Southern California, because you had students who lost their homes. You had students who lost their schools. You had students who lost that routine of learning, and then they suffered beyond just what we would have thought that most people would have endured during the fires. Some of that you can see is finally coming back. That's how long this road is going to be. And when I tell you about Altadena's Loma Alta Park being reopened after months, it may be more symbolic for some, but I believe that there is a substantive gain for kids having that place to play, having that place to relax, having that place to be with their friends. I know a lot of folks who may not live in a home situation. Maybe they live in an apartment situation. Then you have a park, a place to play, a place to meet, and a place to resume those friendships.
The skies over Altadena may have been gray today with a side of drizzle, but the smiles and laughter, the joy at Loma Alta Park more than brightened the day.
The fact that we can come to the park and play and be with the neighbors and all the community again is amazing. They love it.
It was the grand reopening of the new and greatly improved park, much of it destroyed in the Eaton fire.
It's the start of the new beginning.
For Michael Amons and his boys, Jude and Zane, who lost their home in the fire, today was the start of a new chapter.
It makes me feel happy because more people are coming together after the tragedy.
What does being here at the park mean today?
I don't know. Joy and bringing people together.
From the specially designed gathering spaces for the adults to colorful murals to 2 playgrounds. This one, a 3-story state-of-the-art play structure, an inclusive one for kids of all abilities, built with the help of a multi-million-dollar grant from Fire Aid, the benefit concert.
Well, wait a minute. That's good to know, because we talked about Fire Aid. We talked about it for a number of weeks, and sometimes it gets lost. Like, well, where does the money go? How do we know that it's going to the places and the people that it's supposed to? There's an example right there. Now, I didn't grow up with Loma Alta Park, but Tuwali, you know it much better than I do.
Oh, absolutely. I know Loma Alta Park like the back of my hand. This is our favorite park, because this is the park that had the swimming pool. And even though we used to have to walk past Altadena Block Crip to get there, we still did, because that was the park to go to. But
don't run past it. That is actually important, because people were willing to go into dangerous situations just to get to the park.
Just to get to the park. And because of that, because of how kids just went to this park, and this was a park where all neighborhoods in Altadena would go, because again, it had the pool, the only real pool in Altadena. There was an almost hands-off approach to a lot of the gangs in the area. So this was a safe park to go to. And from even fast forward to, 2000 and now, this is a park where my niece was taking tennis lessons. This is a park where the farmers market was, the Altadena farmers market. This is a park where so much of the community came together, and to see it burn down, it was like, for a while, everyone in the community was like, this is quite possibly one of the most tragic losses for the city, because this was a nucleus, a meeting place for everyone. So to see it come back, and I looked at a lot of the live stream, and a lot of friends and family members were up there, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful time.
What I noticed was, and you heard it in the piece, how you had people who had lost their houses but still brought their kids to the park.
Yes.
Because they knew they'd be able to find their friends. They'd be able to have some sense of normality. And one of the children said joy. That was one of the expressions of that, because yes, it's one thing as a child to lose your house. And I know I can remember back when I was a child thinking about that loss of security, that loss of safety, that loss of stability and what the house represents. That you're going to be okay, that you have your toys, that you have a place to go home to. And to be able to have just a little bit of that come back in the park says a lot. Not only about the strength of the community, but the importance of having that meeting place. That's the good news. Unfortunately, there's also some not so good news about not the exact same community, but still how it impacts children as well.
Nearly half of Pasadena's public schools have contaminated soil with dangerous levels of lead, arsenic, even chromium. All this following the Eaton fire. Testing found lead more than 3 times the state limit at some of those campuses.
Let's be honest. If they're finding that right now, we're going to be talking about this story probably for years. We don't know about what that is going to mean for kids in those schools for the next 5-6 years. We don't know.
Including spots where kids eat lunch and enter school. Parents say they've been begging for testing for months and accuse the district of downplaying the risks. The district says affected areas will be restricted. Cleanup will happen over the summer. But for a lot of families, that's not enough. The full test results and school maps now posted on Pasadena Unified's website.
Okay, so yes, let's say you have the cleanup over the summer. You know that you still have these displaced students for the foreseeable future. You tell me you're going to do the cleanup over the summer. I don't know, and this echoes a lot of the complaints and concerns of the parents. I don't know if it's actually going to be done to the level that my satisfaction as a parent, that I feel comfortable putting my child back in that situation, because I know schools, school districts, it's all about getting kids back in schools so they get funds from the state for having those kids in schools. I don't know if the school district can adequately balance their needs with the needs of the children. As a parent, I would be concerned.
The problem with this is that from the beginning, no one in the city has been upfront and honest about the contamination of the soil after the fire. Originally, the testing came back, the levels of lead, the levels of asbestos, zinc, chromium, all that stuff, yeah. It's minor to non-existent. And then LA Times did a story and they said, whoa, what were you looking at? Because this ground is filled with this stuff. Absolutely, just overwhelmingly so. And this is what led to the schools having to test. So my thing is, had the LA Times story not come out, the expose on FEMA's alleged testing, had that not come out, these kids would have been walking around these campuses just kicking this stuff up, getting it on their shoes, getting it on their clothes, getting it on their food. Then what? Then years from now, we would have had sick kids and it would have been like, oh my goodness, we didn't know. What?
And you have to balance this about the desire and the need to get back to where you were before the fires. And that includes rebuilding homes. That includes rebuilding schools and other structures. Like, you want everyone back as soon as possible. But these are some of the other things which have to be addressed first. You can't send kids back into school and have them poisoned. You can't rebuild on ground which is contaminated. And yes, we want to get back to normal. We wanted that more than anything, but we can't do that until it's actually safe. And I don't need them to lie to you, lie to me, and endanger our children in the process, because we want to hurry up and get kids back in school for the purpose of getting money from the state. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. We're live on YouTube and Instagram. And when we come back, we got to tell you about the coyote and the bees. And they all need to die. Well, at least the coyote died. But the bees, they got to go. We'll tell you in just a moment. Don't shake your head at me.
I'm shaking it.
Don't shake your head at me.
You can tune in online now and see me shake my head at you.
All lives matter except bee lives.
You're being scolded.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Instagram. And I talk about coyotes from a very, very serious vantage point. I talk about them because I'm concerned about what they do in my neighborhood. I see them every single day. They run up right behind my house. My security cameras always see them. They always record them, track their movements. They're way too close to my 2 dogs. And I would do anything for them except maybe, save them if a bunch of bees should start stinging them. They might have to
keep
fend for themselves. Yeah.
Keep them away.
Yeah. I probably would not be the person to save them at that point. It'll have to be their mom. But I am serious when I say about coyotes, kill them all. And I believe we have underestimated the amount of danger. When I say we, I'm talking about Southern California. We pet them, we feed them, we act like they're domesticated pets, and they are not that at all. And when I came across this story, it kind of highlights my point, and maybe we're just too comfortable with them. But there was the North Carolina man who was taken to the hospital after authorities said he was bitten multiple times by a coyote. According to the man, he said that he saw a coyote first following him, and he tried to run away from it. He did not engage the coyote. While running away, the man fell. The coyote jumped on him and started to bite him. The man fought with the coyote, as the story goes, for about 10 minutes, and he was able to strangle it to death. There's a picture and video of the coyote and the man we're showing right now on YouTube. Don't laugh at the man. He went through a harrowing experience.
I can just imagine.
The man was taken to the hospital with multiple bite wounds, and the coyote was tested for rabies, but we don't know the results of that. But the bottom line is, this was a grown man. If you're watching us on YouTube, I'll guesstimate he's maybe at least 6 feet tall. 6 feet tall, and the coyote attacked him. Well, if the coyote is going to attack a 6-foot grown man, it's fair to say it's going to attack children. It's going to attack other dogs, especially small dogs.
Interestingly enough, we only have his account of this. We don't have the coyote's account.
So you think he just ran out the house and decided to kill a coyote with his bare hands just to see if he could?
You know what? This could be one of these idiots who's like, you know what? I bet I could take on a gorilla. He's out there like, get out of here, coyote, testing the coyote. The coyote's like, grr, and he's like, I'm not afraid of you.
This is not when animals attack. The coyote earned his murder.
The coyote probably was like, hey man, I'm trying to tell you, man, don't run up on me. He was like, I'm not scared. I'm not afraid of you. All we know is I ran and the coyote jumped on my back and started biting me.
Let's say the man ran up on the coyote. Are you actually trying to argue that a man could run faster than a coyote?
There's no way. And why did he run in the first place? But there's no way he was going to outrun a coyote.
He wasn't going to outrun a coyote, but he could possibly get to safety. But if the man is chasing a coyote, he's not going to chase down a coyote.
He was not going anywhere. He was standing out there trying to test himself.
Oh, you mean standing his ground?
He was out there. I'm 6 feet.
It's North Carolina. I'm pretty sure that's a stand your ground state.
And, he might have
no duty to retreat.
All I'm saying is we only have one witness account.
Well, that's too bad. I'm so glad that I'm so glad that the coyote is the one that died. Anyhow, in a less it breaks my heart. A man has died in a bee attack despite trying to drive away from the bees. Drive away. A Texas man.
Drive away?
Yes. A Texas man was killed by a swarm of bees after allegedly disturbing a hive while mowing the lawn.
Oh, no. I think I said exactly that, right? I think I said exactly that. He disturbed the hive.
That's not a death sentence.
Oops.
I'm so sorry.
If you should knock on my door and disturb me, doesn't mean I get to shoot you.
If you try to come into my house with a chainsaw, are you telling me I can't shoot you dead? Because that's the exact same.
Nope.
He came into the bee's house with the equivalent of a chainsaw.
No. The bees were not on the lawn. He was mowing the lawn, not the flowers.
He was disturbing the hive.
Stephen Daniel was doing yard work near an abandoned building when, according to the story, he roused the bees and was quickly overcome. Daniel frantically jumped into his truck to get away, but the bees followed him inside. Look, Castle Doctrine, you can't chase people after they leave the house.
It's he said, they said. I'm taking the bees side.
That didn't even make sense.
They followed him inside his truck and continued to sting him until he crashed into another person's property.
Okay, so what is he doing by this abandoned property, just mowing the lawn? Well, it's abandoned. No one lives here.
I would like to ask him,
I'm
but
going to
he's
mow the
dead.
lawn. No. You know what he was doing? No. You know what he was doing? He was out there trying to come up on some free honey. Okay. He obviously thought he was going to break into this nest and get away with it.
He was mowing the lawn. He was not climbing the walls.
He got handled. Those bees said, take this. They jumped his punk ass and he died for it.
Officers immediately evacuated the driver from the area and placed him inside a police vehicle a distance from the initial attack to escape further bee stings.
How did they get into the truck? Do you have his windows rolled down?
Well, you have to imagine if you're opening the door to the truck, they're going to follow you in the truck.
It couldn't have been that many that followed him, man.
Oh, according to this, yes. Officers requested an ambulance, and the driver, while in the ambulance, Daniel, the victim, became unresponsive and stopped breathing. Life-saving measures were administered, and the driver was rushed to the local hospital where he succumbed to the effects of his bee stings, and he was pronounced dead on arrival. And the CDC says an average of 72 Americans die every year from bee, wasp, and hornet stings. 72. Okay, that is 6 per month.
That is a paltry number at best.
That's more than 1 a week.
And I don't know. I mean, Mark, maybe you see the flaws in this story that I do, but this man to me sounds as if he went looking for trouble. No one told him to go behind abandoned buildings with his lawnmower that we know of.
It's very suspicious.
Hashtag all lives matter.
Except for the bees.
Bee lives matter?
They're not lives.
Of course they are.
They're insects. No, they're not lives.
They weren't bothering anybody. They weren't mowing that guy's lawn.
No. I want to see. How do we know that they were citizens? I want to see some papers.
Do you think the bees took out their little tiny lawnmowers and went and screwed with the guy? No.
Need to show that they were citizens and they were supposed to be.
Show me your papers.
These were not Africanized killer bees. Okay, these were not Africanized killer bees.
How do you know?
Migrated here without getting proper documents.
How do you know? We have to see their papers to know.
They probably already smoked them out.
What do you mean, probably?
These are good old American bees practicing good old American self-defense against an intruder.
Castle doctrine does not extend beyond the boundaries of the property.
Bee lives matter too.
An attack's an attack.
Bee Kung Fu took this old dude out.
Speed cameras when we come back. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. We're live on YouTube. And don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be giving away tickets to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child at the Hollywood Pantages Theater. Tomorrow, not around, you have to watch the YouTube video to find out.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 at YouTube and the iHeartRadio app and Instagram for that matter. Let's talk about these speed cameras, which are coming to LA, specifically Southern California and other cities around the state next year. And Assembly Bill 645, we talked about it when it was first being debated. It now allows for 6 California cities, LA, Oakland, San Jose, Long Beach, and Glendale, to install these automated cameras to photograph and ticket drivers who speed. We all remember the red light cameras that would ticket you if you went through the intersection. Then all of a sudden you get a ticket and a fine in the mail. Well, it's something like that, but it's going to be tiered relative to how fast you are going over the speed limit. And I understand what they're trying to do. But if you're going to ticket people relative to how fast they're going, then you have to have a much stiffer penalty than just money after a certain point. Here's what I mean. When these cameras go into effect, and there's going to be a 60-day warning period before they officially go into effect. But when they're officially in effect, breaking the speed limit by 11 to 15 miles an hour, let's say it's a 25 mile an hour zone, and you're driving anywhere from, 36 to 41 miles an hour, that will be a $50 fine. If you're doing 15 to 25 miles per hour over the speed limit, that's a $100 fine. So let's say you're doing 50 and a 25. And I say that's only 100. If you're between 26 to 99 miles an hour over the speed limit, let's say you're doing 130 in a 40 mile an hour zone. It's a $200 fine. And if you're driving over 100 miles an hour over the speed limit. Let's say you're doing 155 in a 50 mile an hour zone. That's a $500 fine. I'm thinking after a certain point, if you've tripled the speed limit, regardless of how much you may be over the speed limit, if they can send you a ticket, they might as well send you a warrant in the mail for your arrest, because clearly you are engaging in reckless driving. What's the point of having a speed camera if there's only going to be a financial penalty? I'm being serious now. And I don't like cameras just watching everything I'm going to do. But if you could actually have a speed camera and I can consciously break the speed laws by more than 100 miles an hour, think of anywhere. Let's say a school zone is only 25 and you're doing 126 in a school zone. And the worst that can happen is a $500 fine.
I was going to say, does the cop deliver it to your house and then take you off? Because that's ridiculous.
That would make more sense, because if a cop actually saw you do that, you would be arrested on the spot.
Exactly.
On the spot. And if you have photographic evidence, why would you not then put a warrant out for the rest of that person, or put some sort of boot on their car? You're talking about 126 miles an hour in a school zone, presumably, because they actually put it on the tier sheet as far as how fast you can go. So clearly they have considered the possibility of someone going more than 100 miles an hour over the speed limit. And I'm not saying that anyone who, is driving that fast can afford it. $500 is still $500. But if you're willing to put that many lives in danger, the penalty should be steeper and stiffer than just $500. In the way that they've made the smash and grab, the street takeovers felonies, and they're going to impound the car. Why would you not impound the car? If you're going to take a photo of someone's license plate and you're going to send them a ticket, well, clearly you have their registration information. Just go send the tow truck to the house and pick it up, and because that's what they would do if you didn't pay your other parking tickets. They put a boot on your car, and some cities they would even tow your car. Why would they not tow it here? It just makes no sense. What's the point of having these cameras? Oh, I got it. They just want more revenue. Well, you can get even more revenue if you impound someone's car. And clearly, if you're going 100 miles over the speed limit, you have earned your car being impounded. You should not. If you have photographic and video evidence of someone breaking the law in that wanton way, why would you get another chance to do it in the same vehicle? Or you have someone, look, you just thumb their nose. Yeah, I'm driving a Lamborghini. I can afford a $500 fine. I don't care. In fact, let me go around the block and do it again so you can get me on camera. Oh, okay, that's my second infraction, so now it's $1,000? Why don't we do it again? Make it $5,000. That doesn't deter the behavior. That doesn't inspire someone to maybe not do it. It has to be punitive after a certain point. Yes, you have a 60-day grace period so people can get used to it. But after that, usually, put it this way, go 55 miles an hour over the speed limit. Let's say you're going out to Vegas. And I'm just telling you, I've done it. I had a Honda S2000 and I was driving to Vegas. And I wanted to see how fast the car could drive. And I was at the upper limit. I was in the 120s, all right? And I think the speed limit was 75 at that point of highway. So I'm a good 50 miles over the speed limit. I'm sure if radar had clocked me and the California Highway Patrol or Nevada State Trooper had clocked me, I probably would have gone to prison, go to jail at least for the weekend. But why would you not do that if someone's doing 100 miles an hour over the speed limit in presumably a residential area? Or even on the highway. I mean, why would you not do that? That's the things, like you come up with these ideas. They may be well-intentioned, but did no one think this through to its logical conclusion? It's on the rate sheet, as they say, for 100 miles an hour, and you're only charging money. You're not taking their license. You're not taking their car. Then what's the point? I know if I don't pay my parking tickets, and everyone knows who's ever got a parking ticket, if you don't pay your parking tickets, what happens? You got to pay it to get your registration. They're going to get their money. And if you don't, then, that after a certain point, they'll impound your car. Can I say meter maid? Am I allowed to say meter maid?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to say it. The meter maid, if they see your car with all those parking tickets on your registration, then they'll just call the tow truck. There are penalties for far less aberrant behavior. Far less. But you're not going to have those same type of penalties. So what's the point of this? That's the whole point. What is the point of the speed camera if I can drive as fast as I want with no real penalty? Because if you look at the story, it's all about, speeding leads to all these accidents and so many people dying every single year. Well, but if it's not an adequate deterrent, then what's the point?
Well, the other point here is that when it's only fines, it's only poor people who are really getting punished.
So it's just a tax on the community.
If you're rich, you can afford to break the law.
That was my point with the whole Lamborghini analogy.
Yeah.
If that's the point, who do you think is most likely to go 100 miles an hour over the speed limit?
And if you're going that far over the speed limit in a school zone, just go straight to one of those supermaxes in Ecuador or Venezuela or wherever they're renditioning people to. I forget where it is.
If anything, it'll also
El Salvador.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just send them all south.
Yeah. If anything, it would inspire those young punks that are on YouTube to just go even faster.
It's a dare.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Can I drive fast enough where the camera doesn't catch me? Or, and I know they do this in other cities, they steal people's cars and engage in this behavior. I'm being very serious. I know it's rampant in Chicago. They will steal cars and they'll do other stuff in it. Well, yes, if I want to test the lights, the cameras, and see if they can pick it up or whatever, or just have some fun with the police, then why not just drive 150 miles an hour?
Just take someone else's car for a test drive and hope that they're the ones who get blamed for it?
Yeah.
Nice. Also, things are getting too automated now. If I'm going to get busted for speeding or something like that, I want a cop to come to the car and have me terrified. I want him to wear the mirrored shades. I want him to shout at me.
That's the half-white view.
You will respect my authority. The whole
Black
deal.
People don't want that.
I want the full meal deal. I don't want some anonymous ticket in the mail.
This is where we disagree. I would rather have the ticket in the mail than the interaction, and I'm not being funny.
I want the gut hanging over the belt, the whole 9 yards.
No, because here we go. Since we're going to have this conversation, I don't want there to be a misunderstanding. I don't want there to be a mistake as to my intentions or what is something that can be mistaken as a furtive movement. I don't want any of that.
But you might be able to talk your way out of it. Officer, I was in labor. I've got to go right now.
Oh, that's so very non-black of you.
Labor.
Yeah, we just have two different experiences. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's just I would limit my interactions because I don't want a misunderstanding. That's it. And that's different from the efficacy of a speed camera. What they're proposing here is not going to do anything to stop speeding because there's no real weight to the penalty. But as far as wanting rather a law enforcement presence to hand me a ticket, to ask me to get out of my car, presumably, to maybe search my car, no, that's okay. We can do without all that. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Kind of antisocial of you, actually.
You damn right. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
Perfect for achy, indecisive minds. KFI's cooling Info Gel quickly relieves ignorance and leaves a minty fresh scent.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio.